Hello, welcome to this video. So I'm here at the Polyglot conference in Ljubljana 2018, and I'm here with James from the blog Lingua Materna, and got him here with me today because one of his better languages is Spanish, and I'm going to be starting this as soon as I get back from the conference. So I've come to pick his brain on some of the best tips and advice on what you can expect. So first of all, so my experiences with Asian languages so far, so probably a lot of the problems with Spanish would be maybe different to what I've faced. So facing European languages and Spanish in particular, what do you think is the main barriers and obstacles for beginner learners?
That's a great question. I think for beginner learners in Spanish, obviously having learned a language already is a massive benefit to you, because I think with Spanish a lot of the challenges really are mental more than anything. I don't think Spanish is a particularly difficult language in terms of the grammar, in terms of the vocabulary. You've got so much in common with English, but it's the mental challenges. And I think the one aspect about the language itself that I think is really important for English speakers to watch out for is actually pronunciation. And the reason here is because the alphabet looks the same as in English, right? We use a Latin-based alphabet in English, you use a Latin-based alphabet in Spanish. And so there's a tendency to look at letters like D and T and O and pronounce them exactly the way you would in English. Yeah. Whereas they're actually pronounced slightly differently. The differences are subtle, but that's the difference between kind of sounding quite natural and fluent when you speak later on and sounding very English.
So in terms of practical advice for what I would do in this case of a learner, I guess you need to get used to the sounds of Spanish. So would you recommend doing a lot of reading and listening at the same time, get used to how the sounds pair up to the text?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think listening in particular is the key to getting used to the sounds. Obviously having text is beneficial, but it's good to spend some time listening with and without text. So you can really just take in and get used to the sounds. Music is great for this because I think we have a tendency when we listen to music to actually try and imitate what we hear. Even when you sing in English, when you sing a song by an artist in English, you to some degree start to imitate the way they are pronouncing the words because you're connecting with the musicality. I think that happens as in other languages too. And it doesn't maybe happen as much when you speak. When you speak, we're more conscious of how we pronounce things.
So who's your favourite band or artist then in Spanish in general?
Good question. My favourite Spanish-speaking artist would be Gustavo Cerati. Right. He's an Argentinian, or was an Argentinian musician. He died about 10 years ago, but I really like his music.
Okay, cool. And I'll leave a link in the description for anyone who's interested.
Super.
And in terms of pronunciation, one of the other things as well that I think a lot of people worry about, and I'm falling in that camp of worrying about this, I can't roll my R. And that's, I think, out of all the sounds, the one that seems the most intimidating to me, because from the point of someone who can't roll it almost seems like an impossible task, and something that, from what I hear, seems impossible until you actually do it. So any advice with regards to that specifically?
I would say don't worry about it. I would say, try and do it, try and practice it, and when you're speaking Spanish, try and consciously use the rolled R. But I would say, don't sweat it, because people will understand you anyway. There are very few cases where they won't. I would say that it's not really a big deal. Through exposure to Spanish, you'll get there. But you have to remember, it's not a sound that we have in English, in most dialects anyway. In England, for example, or in Ireland, we don't really use this.
Yeah.
So we're not used to making the sound. And you need to get used to Spanish and be able to really hear the Spanish. It's only when you can hear the Spanish and actually pick out the different sounds that you're going to be able to pronounce it. You can't pronounce the rolled R if you're not used to hearing it. Yeah, so I think in many ways the listening kind of informs that too. And then over time you get to a point where through practice and through being able to hear it better, you get to a point where then eventually you'll be able to produce it.
So it sounds like for a lot of what you're saying is, for a beginner, the main emphasis should really be on building up your listening and doing as much listening as you possibly can, and stuff like that. So onto a quick about yourself a little bit. So I'm just curious, as there are many different reasons to learn Spanish. It spans many countries. There's music, books, novels, TV series, girlfriends, friends, whatever. So I'm just wondering what your specific reasons were, and maybe why, if anyone's watching, why they should learn Spanish, or at least give it a good shot.
For me, it was travel. I spent some time traveling around Spain, and that kind of motivated me. I came back and found there was this kind of words going around in my brain, and was eager to go further, to learn more Spanish, so I could actually, use it properly to connect with people, and to travel in South America, which I then did. And yeah, for me that was it really. The motivation was to travel, but to be able to have the kind of experiences while traveling that you can only have when you speak the language, to be able to connect with people in that way. And I think, there's the stuff like media, like books you want to read, TV shows, etc. Those are all really, really cool motivations. But I think if you can find a way or find a motivation that focuses to some degree on connecting with people, whether that's a family member, whether it's just you want to meet new people, I think it's a different kind of motivator. It's a more powerful kind of motivator, because no matter how good a book is, you can find other books in English, but having a kind of experience or connecting somebody with someone in a unique way is something that maybe you can't do to the same degree.
Okay, cool. So you said you travelled quite a lot around Latin America, so I'm just wondering, from the perspective of a beginner, one of the other things that causes a lot of doubt as well is there's so many different countries, right? There's so many different variations of Spanish. So do you think the variations in Spanish, say difference across Latin America, is something to worry about, or do you think it's kind of just keep things simple, focus on one, and just kind of worry about the other ones when it becomes a problem, when you actually go there and you kind of, if you can speak one, then it's not hard to jump to another one?
Yeah, I think exactly what you said, worry about it later on. We're here having a conversation right now, we're both speaking English, but we speak completely different dialects of English. Yeah. And there's no problem. It's the same in Spanish. Yes, people will have distinct vocabulary, different ways of expressing themselves, different pronunciations, but they're not so different. The one area where it may be quite different from other areas, it would be Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, that bottom kind of southern cone part of South America. But even there, understanding will never be a problem, especially if you're able to kind of express to somebody that you're a learner and let them know that people are friendly. They'll talk slowly, they'll repeat, they'll help you out. So I think it's something to worry about later on.
Great. I really appreciate the time, James. Thank you very much for the tips, and enjoy the rest of the conference. So
Cheers.
If you are learning Spanish, then I encourage you to follow James's blog, Lingua Materna, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'll be publishing weekly videos about my journey, what I struggle with, and you can try and learn from my mistakes. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.